Hello, and our next film is the comedy Death at a Funeral. This movie opened in wide release on Friday, April 16, 2010, and it stars heavyweight comics Chris Rock, Martin Lawrence, and Tracy Morgan. It also features Regina Hall, Danny Glover, Peter Dinklage, James Marsden, and Zoe Saldana of Avatar fame. This film comes to us from director Neil LaBute, director of very quality films such as In the Company of Men and Nurse Betty, as well as the director of forgettable features such as The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage and Lakeview Terrace with Samuel Jackson. Neil LaBute is a very versatile director, taking on many different genres, and I wondered how he would fare taking on a straight comedy with some of comedy's biggest talents. Death at a Funeral tells the story of Chris Rock's Aaron, a man in his late 30s trying to make the perfect life for himself and his wife Michelle, played by Regina Hall. They're attempting to buy a home and start a family. All the while, Aaron is also trying to help his mother and family deal with the loss of his father, who has recently passed away. With the passing of his father comes the responsibility of giving him a proper burial, as well as delivering the eulogy at the funeral itself. Now, his father's last wish was to have his funeral ceremony at his own house, surrounded by close friends and family. This brings Chris Rock's flamboyant brother Martin Lawrence home for the occasion. Martin Lawrence plays successful author Ryan, who we learn as the film plays on is nowhere near as successful as he claims to be. Some of the other characters that show up to pay respects are Danny Glover as Uncle Russell and Peter Dinklage as the departed's very, very close friend Frank. You know, people, I always hate when I go to the theater to see a movie and find out that the only good or funny parts were just in the 2.5-minute trailer, and I'm very happy to say that this is not one of those films. Death at a Funeral is filled with laugh-out-loud moments most of the way through, and even when I wasn't laughing, I still had a smile on my face throughout the entire feature. The whole story only takes place over the course of just a few hours, and the hilarity that ensues is just wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that they went straight for the R-rated comedy. This film holds no punches when it comes to rude and crude language, as well as adult sexual orientation, and they even throw in some very disgusting, but very funny bathroom humor at you. Chris Rock and Martin Lawrence are definitely the stars of this film, but this project works because of the hysterical supporting characters like Tracy Morgan and James Marsden. Every time Tracy Morgan spoke, he had me laughing in the aisles. Danny Glover's Uncle Russell was priceless, and James Marsden's Oscar I thought only got funnier as the film played out. Also, with 10 to 15 main characters in this film, I never felt that any one of them was ever left out of the story. This film was very delicately balanced to include every person, every step of the way, and all that involved had many chances to shine throughout this project. This tactic doesn't work in every movie. Just ask the entire cast of Valentine's Day. Another reason that I like this movie is that every time it even starts to become remotely tender or sincere, it just hits you with about 1,000 pounds of comedy. It does have its light moments, and it does bring some heart to the story, but it stays an R-rated comedy throughout, and I couldn't have been more thankful for that. Even at the end of the film, Aaron's eulogy comes off very nice, and that's because of the sheer likability of lead actor Chris Rock. However, the filmmakers have surrounded this tenderness with, raunchy laughs and highly entertaining vulgarity. I recently saw the film Date Night with Steve Carell and Tina Fey, and I complained that I didn't belly laugh at all throughout the film, and I thought that I just expected more from the project on a whole. Death at a Funeral, I believe, is the complete opposite. I belly laughed many times and smiled constantly. It was everything that I expected it to be going in, and I was even more satisfied when I left. I believe you always know you've seen a truly good comedy when the people around you are still laughing when they're walking out of the theater, and not only was that happening for this film, I was one of the people laughing. At just over 90 minutes, I thought that Death at a Funeral flew by as nothing but a complete and entertaining comedy. I enjoyed the physical and slapstick humor, and I liked the witty dialogue. And I especially loved the side story involving Peter Dinklage and the fact that the movie never takes itself too seriously. Without question, a very fun time at the movies, 3 stars out of 4, and remember people, I'm not always right, only when it comes to the movies. And thank you for your attention.